Hey everybody, how we doing today? I thought I'd take a minute and go over my power hammers that I have in the shop. I have three of them. I have two little giants and I have an Anyang. So I thought I would talk about the differences between them and how I use them in the shop. All right, let's go check them out. So this is the smallest of my three hammers. It is a 25-pound little giant. It is the new style. It does not have the guard that goes around the front of the ram up here. This hammer I bought from a guy in eastern Nebraska. His dad was a blacksmith, and this hammer had been sitting in an old shed down there for, I think he told me, like 40 years. Anyway, this hammer was completely functional when I bought it. It had just been sitting there. The only thing I did to it was put a new belt on it. I've got a flat belt on the back. And the motor was 220 volt, and I changed it to 110 volt. And it's the original motor that came with it. This hammer is super fast. It hits really hard for just a 25 pounder. My son loves to use this hammer. He calls it his hammer. It's not, but he calls it his. And anyway, I'll turn it on and run it here just for a little bit and give you an idea of how it works. So you can see the hammer runs super fast, but you can also, they have really good control. They hit pretty soft, or you can, so anyway, that's pretty much how this one functions. It's a nice little hammer. I need to get some new dies for it, but other than that, I mean, this thing is a really good hammer. So this hammer I primarily use for drawing out smaller stock, smaller billets that I use. It's got kind of some round dies, a round die on top and a flat die on the bottom. So that helps draw that material out fairly quickly, and it hits super fast. So, but being a smaller hammer, it's it doesn't work near as fast as the big ones. So I don't use this one a ton. I do use it some. My son uses this thing exclusively. I won't let him use the big ones yet. He's only 10. But I will let him use this one if he's careful. So anyway, that's how I use this one. It doesn't move material near as fast as the big ones, obviously, but it does move it pretty fast. And where it's got the round die on top, it does stretch that material out fairly quickly. So it has the removable sow block right there. The old style ones, they did not. And occasionally they would get a crack right here where the die is in the sow block. So they made it so they could remove the sow block and replace it if needed. And here's the motor that came with it, fully functional. Everything worked fantastic on this one. It cleaned up really easy. On all these little giant power hammers, they came with a serial number. And you can see on this one, the serial number is 7938. And so you can go contact Little Giant. They have a place in eastern Nebraska, and they have most, if not all, the records on these hammers, like when they were sold and where they were sold to. This hammer was manufactured in 1947. That was its first, or its sale date when it was shipped out, and it shipped to somewhere in eastern Nebraska. I can't remember the town. It didn't go very far from where it was shipped. and that's where I found it in eastern Nebraska. So this is my second biggest hammer. It is a pneumatic hammer. It is an Anyang 88. The actual ram weight is 108 pounds. This hammer is amazing. It has such great control and so much power. It has a ton of power. You can hit really hard with it, or you can hit really soft. They're amazing hammers. I bought this hammer shortly after I was on Forged in Fire. For any of you that don't know, I was on Forged in Fire. I did win my episode, and this is what I bought with the winnings, was this hammer here. So this was the first hammer I ever bought, and it is just a workhorse in the shop, and I use it all the time. So here is the 88 Anyang at work here. So these you can really just barely kiss your work, just barely touch it, or you really hit it hard. And the amount of control that they have is just amazing. And I use it all the time for my knife making. So here's a quick walk around of the Anyang. So again, it has a 108-pound ram. It has a 5-horse motor back here, I believe. Right here you can see it says 108 pounds. It is just an absolute workhorse in my shop. It has the oiler over here to oil all the internal parts. I have a little heater that I put on here in the wintertime to warm that oil up. But yeah, this thing, absolutely love this hammer. Now this hammer, the power that it has, I use it a lot to draw out Damascus billets, stretch them out so I can cut them up and restack. But it also has the control that I can forge the tip into a knife with it without it smashing it all up and everything like that. So I just have the flat dies on it. It doesn't draw out super fast because of that, draw out the Damascus billet super fast because of that. But it does work really well. And the control that this hammer has makes it so nice to forge a blade under. You can do almost all the forging under this hammer and not have to use your hand hammer. I do use my hand hammer a lot because that's, to fine tune everything, and I enjoy hand forging. It's fun. But this hammer, the control that it has, it makes that process easier. And so now it's time for the big dog. This is the biggest hammer that I have. It is the second biggest hammer, I believe, that Little Giant made. They made a 500-pound and a 250-pound, a 100-pound, a 50-pound, and a 25-pound. So when you're talking about the size of the hammer, the 250-pound, that is the weight of the ram. So the ram right here is 250 pounds. So that's where it gets its name. Altogether, this hammer weighs 6,000 pounds, not counting the motor. So this thing is just massive. It's over 7 feet tall. The serial number on it is 535, and it was sold in 1952. So this hammer would be not quite 75 years old. I hope my math is right. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the amount of control that this hammer has is really surprising as well. You can make it hit fairly soft. It's still hitting hard, but you can. And that's probably only about 50%. I really don't want to. It throws chunks of wood, so you got to be careful. But yeah, this thing hits super hard, And like I said, the control that you can have with this thing is pretty good for as massive as it is. A lot of guys put brakes on them. I haven't done that yet and haven't decided whether I want to or not. So here's a quick walk around of the 250 pounder. As you can see, you can adjust up and down on the pitman for the size of stock that you're putting in between the dies. You can adjust that there up and down. You can also adjust here, which will raise the ram. By tightening or loosening this, it'll raise or lower the ram. It's got a 7.5 horse motor. It did not come with a motor. I bought this motor separate. I bought it used on an auction site online. It kind of makes a little noise, but it came with the shutoff and everything with it, and so seems to work pretty good. Okay, this is not the original sow block that came with it. This sow block here, I have one that is not original to the hammer, but it's made for this hammer. It's getting some dovetails milled in it, and so when I get that back, I'm going to get some dies for it. Last I knew, Little Giant had a couple sets of die, or a set of dies that I could get for it, but as of right now, it's working just fine. As you can see over here, all the linkage and everything that runs the clutch mechanism back here, forward and backwards. Let's see if I can. Runs that forward and backwards to engage the shaft. But yeah, this thing, I've got it set on some probably 2 to 3 inch, 2.5 inch, I think, bridge plank boards. I do not have it on a separate cement pad. There's a lot of recommendations that you need to do that. I've talked to a guy that has had a 250 pound giant for years, and he said, don't worry about pouring an extra cement slab. So he said, if it breaks, pour one. If not, you're good to go. So I guess that's what we're going to try. But anyway, there is the monster. I think my son calls it Thunderstruck. So this hammer, because it hits so hard, my intentions with this one are to break down big stacks of Damascus. So I want to be able to compact those and stretch those out, draw those out, so I can cut, restack, forge, weld them together, break them down again, stretch them out, cut them up, and do it in a quick manner. And I think this hammer is going to fit the bill. It's going to work great for that. That's what it's made for. It is made for breaking down big stock. So that was my intentions when I bought this hammer. That and just the cool factor of this thing. You don't ever see these things come up for sale. And this one came up for sale only about 4 hours from me. So it was I really had no intention of buying it. But it came home with me anyway. So there's a look at the 3 hammers that I have in my shop. I love using these old pieces of equipment that have lasted for years and years, and just bringing them back to life and using them for their intended purpose. They make work in the shop so much easier, and to be honest, they make work in the shop so much more fun. Let me know what kind of hammers you guys have. Anything that you have in your shop that you just absolutely love running, whether it be a hammer or maybe a press or just anything like that makes work in your shop enjoyable. All right, have a good one. We will see you on the next one.